Yeah, give it up for COVID, everybody. Ooh. Fuck COVID. Oh, mixed crowd.
This is a sing-along. I want you boys out there to sing it with us. I want to see everyone here sing it with us. It's not that well known. Here we go. Rock. Looking for a tease, walking the streets for a living. Now for some fun, what she giving? Hell on high heels, in for the night. Getting my pants, getting out all night. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't just say a maybe. Breakdown, baby. Break down the night. Breakdown, baby. Don't just say a maybe. Breakdown, baby. Breakdown. Yeah. Where's Thomas Fraser singing that song? Put your hand up, son. Johnny Perry. Another shutdown before the night. Messing with Jack and losing outside. Yeah. Knows where she's going, knows where she's at. She's in for one thing, she doesn't wanna show. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't just say a maybe. Breakdown, baby. Break down the night. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't just say a maybe. Breakdown, baby. Break down the night. Here we go. Breakdown, baby. Don't just say a maybe. Too many jars. Here we go. We can sing this one. Break down, baby. Don't you say it, maybe. Break down, baby. Break down the night. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't you say it, maybe. Break down, baby. Break down the night. Break down, baby. Don't you say it, maybe. Break down, baby. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't you say it, maybe. Break down, baby. Break down, baby. Some further closer. Here we go, Crow. Sing it fucking loud. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't just say it, baby. Breakdown, baby. Break down the night. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't just say it, baby. Breakdown, baby. Break down the night. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't just say it, baby. Breakdown, baby. Break down the night. It's a breakdown, baby. Don't just say it. Whoa, 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 whoa.
welcome to the Riff Crew. I'm your host, Steve Mitchell, and welcome again to another episode of the Electric Church. Of course, we're all about live music, and I know another man who's loving live music is over in DC. Skull, how you doing, mate?
Always good to be here with Electric Church, man. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen in Cyberland. As you know, it's Skull, broadcasting from the past, present, and future in the Chamber of the Cosmos. Here with my good friend Steve Oz. I'm in off again, on again DC bomb rock band Black Manta. Been in the DC scene for over 30 years. I know people from all over the scene. And I've been invited to fill in for Andrew, and I'll be here for as long as I can, man. I'm always excited to be here, and always excited about the Electric Church segment. It's we might have mentioned it before. It's a couple of segments that we wanted to separate from the interviews, because sometimes the interviews went long. So we created these segments, Great Gig in the Sky, to talk about our fallen heroes and fallen brethren of the Brotherhood of Orpheus and Disciples of Rock and Roll. And also, and then the other segment is Electric Church, to talk about so we can worship our brethren and worship the music. And the part of the Electric Church is to go into shows and just talking about the scene and live music in general. So that's what the Electric Church is all about. So bow your heads and pray.
That's right. The church is in session. Before we jump into that, you said on again, off again. I understand you guys jammed a couple of months ago. Is that right? Before Hillel moved to a new residence?
Who told you? Did you have a hidden camera?
I don't know, mate.
Can't keep anything secret anymore.
Well, you live in the DC area, mate. It's all spooks. You should know that by now.
Yes, it is. And I know you think you're kidding, but I fucking see him at the gym. I'm like, oh, that guy's a Russian spy. That guy's a Russian spy. That guy's a Russian spy. They're all fucking wearing track suits and shaved heads and speaking in Russian.
How was that? You guys, did it spark you to actually want to play a gig, or was it just nice to kick out some tunes?
I don't know if Hillel told you or not, but he actually moved out of that place. He was at this one place for a while, and he always had these lofty ideas of practicing there, and we're gonna jam here, and we're gonna record here, and the motherfucker works 100 hours a week, so we don't ever really get to do what we want to do. But he said, hey, it would be awesome if you guys could come and say a proper goodbye to this place, because I always wanted to play here. And so we just showed up, and we jammed, and it was pretty good. It was really good. We hadn't jammed in like 5 or 6 years, and it's like kablam, you just fall right back into it. It's like riding a bicycle. And I remembered like 95% of the lyrics. I was stunned. I mean, I always bring lyric sheets with me or whatever, just to kind of prime the old memory. But it was cool. And Hillel went to record it, and he's like, "Oh, my battery is dead, so we didn't record it. It's only been recorded by history and by the gods above, and our memories." But I left it open. I said, "Hello, whenever you're stop working 100 hours a week, and if you want to jam." He's moved to another place that he has other lofty ideas about. And so, but it was cool.
Does that new place have a basement as well?
I don't know if I even want to talk about that.
Okay.
I don't know if I even want to entertain the idea of going down that route again, but he says that he's looking into the same thing that he did with the old place he wants to do with the new place, so we'll see.
Must have taken a while for him to move with all those amps as well. Must have had like a fleet of trucks.
I helped him move a little bit the first day, and so I've actually seen it, and I've been there, and I've christened it. I've given it the old Skull energy. I've given it all my Star Child Rush energy I can into it, so it's a cool little place.
Well,
But
would have loved to have seen it, but obviously didn't have the opportunity to. But I have seen some great
you were
shows.
there in spirit. You're always there in spirit. You're one of the world's greatest Black Manta fans.
Oh, what do you mean one of? That's an insult, mate.
You are you
I'm not
are the
official
greatest
yet?
Black Manta fan. You're the greatest Black Manta fan in Australia.
It's fair enough. I'll take that. At
Yeah,
least. I don't
on
know.
the other side of the world.
Yeah, there might be a few freaks out there in Maryland who are a bit more crazy than I am. So
They don't fly all the way across the world to see us play, though.
but they don't have to. That's the whole point.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
But in terms of other live music,
Your live worship at the Electric Church.
yeah, that's right. It's been a weird because I think it's been 3 months since we did one of these shows, and we actually pumped up a whole lot of shows in January, and literally every show that I featured on that program was cancelled. Every single show, because
wow.
there
was like 100 that you promoted.
yeah, every single one of them was cancelled. Not one of them went
Wow.
ahead. It was like
Wow.
because we have brain dead politicians here that do not understand anything about anything, and basically the venues were, I think, initially shut down and then had reduced capacity, and so all the gigs got cancelled. And I only saw one in January, which was announced and I think planned like 3 days before it happened. So it was like a spur of the moment thing, and that was a Jack Harlon and the Dead Crows show, which the guys
Yeah,
were
you're wearing that shirt, right?
yeah. So the guys were a bit rusty, but it was just great to get out and see a great show. And that was literally the only show I saw all of January after pumping up a big month of shows because it just got flattened,
Yeah.
which was a shame. But February, things started to pick up again. For me, February was a month of festivals. There were 2 festivals that I attended. The first was over in Adelaide, the city of Adelaide, better known as Radelaide here in Australia, or the
How
city
far away is it from you?
City of Churches. It's I may have mixed up the time zones, but it was either 8 or 8.5 hours drive each way. So I'm not sure how that compares to
Wow.
where you are, like maybe driving down how long's a Florida trip or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So it'd be longer than Richmond. Is Richmond what 5-6 hours or something like that?
No, it's 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Like less. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe
That's
it's
nothing.
the equivalent of driving to Florida or something.
Black
like
Manta actually played in Richmond one time.
that. There you go. Of course, there's no records of that.
No.
No.
It's only up here, and this is a little foggy.
Yeah. So it was a long trip over, 8 or 8.5 hours, for a festival called Churches of Steel, and it was held at the University of Adelaide. It was an outdoor event, and it was really great. There was one band that was cancelled because they couldn't make the trip. I think their flights got cancelled or something. But there were 11 bands and a good mix of styles. So there were, a couple of metalcore bands, a couple of sort of stoner doom bands, some thrash bands. So there was a little bit for everyone. There really weren't any weak bands at all. It was more of a case of whether you got into them or not. For me, personal highlights were obviously the doom bands. So there were two bands
Right.
on the bill that sort of fall into that kind of grouping. One being Raven Black Knight, who released an album, I think, a year or two ago. Actually, it might have been last year, which was delayed due to obviously all the things that were going on in the world. And the other one, sort of stoner doom band was a band called Dirty Pagans. And those guys definitely know how to hit the high notes when they're singing because
Really?
yeah, it was
That's interesting for a doom band.
Well, it's kind of like almost old school rock. Both of them are very 70s influence. I'd say even Raven Black Knight, there's a 60s influence in their music. Almost like psychedelic.
Huh.
So
That's cool. I love that shit.
yeah, so they were really cool, and there were a bunch of thrash metal bands that I've seen a number of times and always enjoy. One of those being Hidden Intent, which are native to Adelaide, and the frontman Chris was the guy who put on the event, and it was a great day and a great evening and a long drive back to
All
Melbourne.
right, can you? So what were those other bands you mentioned that the '60s influenced band? Who is that?
Raven Black Knight.
Raven. And have you mentioned them before, or is this a new band?
No, this is a band I discovered basically at the festival. I checked them out before the festival.
Oh, you discovered them at the festival.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I think they've released a couple of other albums. And the other band was Dirty Pagans. But yeah, so I'm glad I drove over in February because I think I would have spent twice the amount of money on petrol if I was going to go over now. So fortunate.
Oh yeah,
timing in
it's
that
it's
regard.
gone through the roof.
Yeah, and my car is not fuel efficient. Let's say.
Oh, you drive a tank, right?
Yeah, I think Greta Thunberg would be pretty unhappy if she saw my car. Yeah.
You drive one of those stoner rock tanks, right?
No, it's a what do you guys call them? Because we call them a 4-wheel drive here.
A Humvee.
Not quite a Humvee. It's a Nissan, mate. I
Yeah,
wouldn't mind a Humvee though. That'd be cool.
I guess like 1 mile to the gallon.
It'd still be cool though.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
you could run over all the hippies if you wanted to.
oh, I'm not that harsh, mate.
Okay, good. I love hippies.
And the second festival I attended was basically a local festival called Flippin' the Bird. So Flippin' the Bird at a place called Singing Bird Studios, and it's basically an industrial estate with a recording studio, some rehearsal studios, and some performance spaces. And once a year, there's a festival put on, and there's an outdoor stage as well. So there's 3 stages of bands, an incredible mix of people. You get, because it's an all ages event, everything from high school kids through to senior citizens, and the music is a mix of punk and alternative and hardcore and metal. So you get the whole cross section. So you get an eclectic bunch of people that turn up to the show or turn up to the festival. And yeah, lots of cool bands on the bill. My probably my highlights were a couple of punk bands. One called Clowns, and another called Coffin, which they both played on the outdoor stage, and there were a bit of acrobatics as well during those particular sets.
There's a lot of coffin bands. Is it the same coffin band or a different coffin band?
Well, this is the one that I featured on the top 10 of 2020.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. So,
You got to see them.
Yeah, so yeah, Children of Finland fighting in Norway.
Nice. Okay. And so they were good. How were they live?
Oh, they were always great live. So I've seen them twice this year live. So
How many Steves would you give them?
how many Steves?
Five out of how many? 5 out of 5 Steves? Steve-Os?
How many Steve-Os? I definitely give them a 5 in terms of live.
Wow. Okay.
They don't disappoint live.
Hmm.
Yeah, so in February they were the 2 highlights. Those 2 festivals, and in March there were a couple of album launches which I went to. The first was Dr. Colossus, which I think I mentioned to you last time. The Simpsons inspired band. They came out with their Stonecutters uniforms or dress on, and just played a good rockin' set. They play a very tight set, very accomplished musicians. and it was actually a big afternoon and evening because there were in total 7 bands on the bill. So it was almost like a mini festival. And a couple of bands that travelled for that show, one being Astro Death from Sydney and the other Lucifungus from Canberra. So that was a big night, as was the other album launch that I attended, which was Garlic Nun. And I do have a copy of the
Galactic
vinyl.
Nun?
No, Garlic.
Galactic Nun?
Garlic, not
I like Galactic Nun better.
That could be. So their album
Garlic Nun.
Yep, Garlic
Like
Nun.
garlic naan. You ever had garlic naan?
I have. I'm off the carbs now, mate. So it's been a while since I've had some garlic naan, but it was a wild.
So what do they
show.
sound like then?
Punk. They're just hard rock and punk band, and they're notable for having quite wild shows. Their singer Costi dresses up in, I guess, full length. What would you call it? Fishnet stockings and whatnot, and he's quite a hairy guy, so it's quite.
Well, I was gonna say, is it like
and a
it's still-
G-string?
It's obviously not a narco, like a narco punk, which I forgot to mention this. I've actually been getting into an old nihilistic or narco D-beat punk from the early 80s, like Discharge, Exploited, GBH, and stuff like that, because of, this, imminent nuclear threat that we've been living kind of under recently kind of triggered something in me. So I've been listening to my old nihilistic and narco punk, which is probably the opposite of Garlic Nun. But so it's kind of like a silly punk band. They're not really political or anything like that, right?
I don't know what I haven't read the lyric sheet, so I'm not sure, to be honest.
I think with a name like Garlic Nun, it's safe to say probably not.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say they're
They're like
political in nature.
pizza dick of the punk scene.
Could be. But they've got song. I'm just looking at the song titles: Disco Mistress, Molotov Mocktail, Hollywood Flu, Cocaine Vampire. So I don't think it's political. I don't think it's yeah. I don't think they're looking to change the world in that way. But it was just a night of total chaos, stage diving, stuff like that, and
you got your stage diving in.
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't because I was holding the camera, but plenty of other people were all night, and it was. I think I mentioned to you following that show, I came down with COVID. I spoke with one of the guys in the band, and 2 of the guys in the band got it, and there were others there as well. So it was kind of like, if you heard of those chicken pox parties and people having COVID parties.
It was a super spreader
around. So it was one of those nights. It was definitely wasn't planned that way, but
well, I'm glad you're doing okay, my friend. I was worried about you.
No, it seems to be pretty common. Everybody's saying 3 days it knocks you out, and then you're sort of back to normal. So
okay, well, good.
Well, good, but lots of good shows. Those were, I guess, the highlights over the last 3 months. How about yourself?
Well, I don't get to go to as many shows as you do, and I've kind of gotten pickier in my older age, and I don't have a whole lot of time. But recently I've been doing these bucket list shows where we talked about the previous Electric Church where I got to see the Stones, and I never really was, I've gotten to really appreciate them over the past years, and so I was really excited to see that. And one band that, once again, to talk about like the evolution of music and how I grew up a completely different way than the younger, generation did, where I started off listening to hard rock and stuff like that and to whatever was on the radio. And I evolved up to the heavy stuff like Metallica and thrash metal and Slayer. And then, and then off into the death metal at Bolt Thrower, Carcass, etc. But as a kid, so a lot of this stuff that I grew up with is still in here. It's still in my noggin, you know. I listen to a lot of old rock, 70s rock, some stuff that is not even considered heavy. Although this band that I'm getting ready to mention does have its heavy elements. So last year, one of my bucket list bands is the Eagles. I know that a lot of people are going to be surprised by that, but I've always argued and said that they have incredible vocal harmonies, just amazing musicianship, and arguably, I've always argued that the Hotel California is considered one of the greatest rock albums of all time. It sold a gazillion records and all that. I argue that it is the American equivalent of Zeppelin's Volume 4 because the same musicianship and production value and songwriting and just everything. It's kind of has that parallel with Zeppelin Volume 4, and Hotel California came a little bit later, but that's my argument. And also because Stairway to Heaven is one of those. It's once over here in the States, arguably is the most ubiquitous song on the radio, the most played song on the radio. That and Hotel California are the two most played songs on the radio. So you can take that for whatever it is, but just as far as like growing up with it and hearing it and being around it as a kid, it always just in the back of your mind. That being said, I wanted to go see them, and they had a tour. This tour is called the Hotel California Tour. They're going to play the entire album in its entirety. I was very fucking excited about that. They played here in DC last summer, 2 nights, and I was supposed to go. Long story. It was still the height of COVID, but not just that. I was going to go anyway. There some shit came up. I don't even really need to go into it, but I was not able to go. 6, 7, 8 months later, my brother from another mother that I saw the Stones with and Primus Plays Rush, etc. He's like, hey man, I'm going to see the Eagles play Hotel California. I was like, fuck you, motherfucker, I'm going. So I had to drive all the way. Instead of seeing it in DC, I drove all the way down to see the Eagles with who I saw the Stones with in Primus Plays Rush. And it wasn't in the same venue that the Stones played at, but it was pretty big, probably 30,000 or something like that, 30, 40,000. Once again, I didn't have a ticket, just like the Stones. I just rolled up there. His friends bought him the ticket. The tickets were $100. The Stones tickets were only $75, but the Eagles tickets were $100. I rolled up. The guy was like, I'm sorry, sir, you need a phone to put your e-ticket on a phone. I was like, I only have a flip phone. He was like, oh, okay, well, I can just print you out a ticket. So they tell you that you need a phone to get your ticket, but you don't. It's fucking bullshit. So I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I only have a flip phone. See, and he's like, oh, okay, I can just print you out a ticket then. So I have a physical ticket. And of course, Iz was pissed off about that because he collects tickets like some people collect tickets. And it was, I had heard that it was great. I will tell you, you won't believe this. These guys are in their fucking 70s. Guess how long they played? Just take a fucking wild guess.
It'll be between 2 and 2.5 hours, I reckon.
That's right.
Yeah.
They played 3 hours long.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I don't know how they have the stamina to do it. Talk about people that love what you're doing. You have to love music and love what you're doing in order to perform like that every night.
Well,
it was amazing.
Those old rockers are pros. They'll punch you out
total
2-3 hours. Yeah.
I mean, young people can't do that. I wouldn't be able to do that. It's crazy. a lot of people might not know this, but Don Henley, he was, Glenn Fry, God rest his soul. He passed away a few years ago, but Don Henley, he's the main guy now, but he plays drums and sings. A lot of people don't know that. He wasn't playing drums on every song, but when he was playing drums, he was singing at the same time. Totally blowing my mind. So I'll just break it down for you. I was super excited. It was a bit of magic because I missed it the first time around. I didn't think I was going to see it. It was a bucket list thing. I was pretty upset about it. There was a light at the end of the tunnel. There was that magic happened. Iz told me he was going to see it. I went down. I got my ticket. Everything was pretty, in COVID terms, was pretty, easy. And they start almost exactly at 8 o'clock. There was no opening band. The Stones had an opening band. The Eagles did not have an opening band. And when you see it, we're in the fucking nosebleeds because those were the cheapest tickets. There's like this curtain in front of the stage. And you hear like, I've always described the Eagles as like, kind of desert rock. It has kind of the spiritual, enigmatic, kind of mysterious. I mean, some of it vibe to it. Some of the music, especially the later stuff, has this desert rock kind of mystical vibe to it. That I sense that. I got to get that kind of vibe. And it starts off and you hear like this wind blowing. And you're like they're setting this mood for you, like you're in the fucking desert and you're gonna have like some kind of supernatural like experience or something. And then all of a sudden, like this guy he comes around the side of the stage and you hear click clock, and he's kind of dressed in old Western, like 1800s, early 1900s American Western garb, like black leather and the bowler hat, and he has this leather briefcase and he's walking. He's like, click, click, and he's like walking, and he slowly walks up to the stage, and the light moves over to like this box, and he like pulls up his briefcase, and they're like, what is that thing? What is that box? Because you can't really see it because, we're a million miles away up in the stage. And like, what the hell is that? And you know what he pulls out of his briefcase?
Smith & Wesson.
Close. He pulls out this. He pulls out Hotel California, the album. He pulls it out. It's on vinyl. He pulls... And he goes like this. He takes it out. And you're like, what the hell is he doing? You have no idea what he's doing. And that the box that you don't really know what the box is, he lifts it up and it's a record player. And he puts the album on. And then there's like bzz, 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 this neon sign lights up on the left-hand side of the stage and it says Hotel California. And then all of a sudden he puts on the needle and you hear the needle go like a little bit of like surface noise going around, and the band starts playing. The band starts playing where the mysterious man puts the record on, and they hear the grooves hit the needle hit the grooves and is playing around, and then they start playing, and then the curtains open up and they play right through, dude. It's fucking crazy.
I'm assuming it wasn't like a Milli Vanilli thing, that you were just listening to the vinyl for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, they were so good. Maybe the vocals and the harmonies were so spot on. I was like, holy shit, but there was just enough to it. Sometimes one time the mics went out, one time guy had a guitar problem. There was just enough to it to know that, for you to know that it was real, but they were fucking spot on. And so they played the first side all the way through. Obviously start off with Hotel California. That's the first song on the album. And they had this new guy playing the guitar, Don Felder, the original guy. He's not in the band anymore, but they have a guy that's just fucking smoking amazing. This guy named Stuart Smith. He was so good I had to look him up later. But after the first side, the curtain closes, and not the guy, but a woman kind of dressed up in the same kind of period garb. She walks up, and then she turns the record over on side B and starts it and walks off stage, and the crowd goes wild. The crowd goes wild. And so they keep playing, and I was like, holy shit, I think I know what they're doing, because you probably don't know this, but when that album came out, it was quite controversial at the time, believe it or not, because of the lyrics. There is some supposed satanic imagery in Hotel California, the song, and also on the album. And all these religious groups they like were up in arms. Like, supposedly there's a picture of Anton LaVey, at the time he was the head high priest of the Church of Satan, who was supposedly on the album cover somewhere. So all the kids are like, where's Anton LaVey from the Church of Satan is on my record? Where is he? I want to see where he is. Supposedly is on the balcony. That was the amazing thing about shit back then, is like, even bands like the Eagles and the fucking Beatles were accused of like Satanism. And I mean, there are some really strange cryptic lyrics inside of, Hotel California, some killing the beast and all this kind of shit like that. And the one smell of colitis, which is pot or whatever. But the awesome thing about music back then and about records is, like, at any given moment there could be like this urban legend that just blows this album up to like this like legendary status, where it's like, the Eagles are satanic now, and Anton LaVey, for the high priest of the Church of Satan, is on this record. Some album is possessed. There's some shit. I don't know. All it does is it make the album even more fucking awesome, and it gives it that fucking amazing, mythos and gravitas or whatever, just like Led Zeppelin Volume 4. But that has that same kind of bizarre enigma to it. When you open it up, there's all kinds of cryptic alchemical messages and magical messages and that kind of stuff in it, like Crowleyan type stuff. But anyway, they played the entire album. It was fucking amazing. Joe Walsh, there's only 3 original guys left in the band, but everyone else was, they were still amazing. And then after they finished, Don Henley came up and he was like, okay, folks, we're going to take a little bit of break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to play for 3 hours. And I was like, ha, 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 ha. Me and Izzy were like, ha, 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 ha. Then we like laughed about it. And sure enough, those old motherfuckers came back and they played between the Hotel California, playing that in its entirety. They probably played for 3 hours, dude. And they basically played this. This is, one of their most famous albums, the Eagles' greatest hits. It's one of the greatest selling albums of all time. This is the embossed one. It's the picture is embossed. They played everything on here, basically. The tour was Hotel California and Greatest Hits tour. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And as they've always done, they've always let Crazy Joe play a few of his own tracks. So he played Funk 49 from the James Gang. And he played Life's Been Good to Me So Far, so he likes to play that. Rocky Mountain Way. And they played Don Henley, Boys of Summer, which is one of his solo songs. But they basically played, if you like the Eagles, I mean, some of the songs are fucking slow and schmaltzy, and it's kind of putting you to sleep a little bit. But some, they can mix it up, man. They can fucking rock it out. Great guitar tones. Great performance. I was so fucking glad I was able to see them. I get to check that off, off my bucket list, check that box, check them off my bucket list. And it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Once again, I got to see it with my brother he actually has some pictures and some live stuff I might be able to give you to put on here. But So that was that show. And I have the complete opposite of that. I haven't even told you the other show that I got to see, but I told you every year I make a list of all the shows that I want to see, and then I only really get to see because I got, a job and wife and kids, and I'm domesticated caveman and all that stuff. So I don't always get to see what I want to see.
Russian spy.
I really am trying to go, huh?
Russian spy work.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more like James Bond though, or Captain America. But so I make a list, and I was supposed to go see Meshuggah, but Hillel bailed on me, and yes, he did. I will stick to that.
Really?
He bailed on me.
He
Yes,
bailed
we
as
did
well?
not go. Hillel bailed on Meshuggah. I didn't go to that. But oddly enough, and I didn't look at the details. I don't know if they're coming back twice or they had to postpone it. But they're coming back to the same venue, the Fillmore, in about 6 months. So I'm probably gonna go to that. And I said I was gonna go see Slash at the Fillmore, and I didn't go see that. But 2 weeks ago, my friend Jim Kirkland, he's the guy that owns that online publishing company, Dreaming City, that book I was a part of, for Michael Moorcock and Elric. It's called Urish's Horde. It's on Amazon. I have a copy of it around here somewhere. But my friend Jim Kirkland, it's a really long story, but his birthday was that weekend, was this 2 weekends ago. And his sister-in-law sadly passed away, just abruptly passed away. And his wife was with the sister-in-law, we're going to go on a cruise. Long story short, he went with his wife to a cruise, and they had extra tickets to go for. He wanted to go to his show. Now, Jim Kirkland is a really interesting cat, a really interesting character. He's has his own online publishing company, and but he's also into the local doom scene, believe it or not. He's also into doom and stoner rock. And so the show that he was supposed to go see was Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats with King Buffalo. And so I was like, sure, I'll go see Uncle Acid. Why not? It was in Baltimore. There's a venue there called the Baltimore Soundstage. It's been there for 10 plus years. I've heard great things about it. Hello says it has great sound. I've never had a chance to go. This is my first time there. It's small and perfect size. And the sound was good. I like Uncle Acid. I'm not an Uncle Acid freak. I did see them at the Maryland Death Fest about 10 years ago. It was very cool. It was outside. It was
Yep.
in the outside part of the festival, so that was really fun. They sounded great. And the cool thing is they there was only 2 bands. A lot of these shows you go to these days, they like to cram 5-6 bands onto a show. I don't know if it has to do with COVID. People are rethinking how long people should be out. But there was only 2 bands, King Buffalo and Uncle Acid. I didn't know anything about King Buffalo, nothing. And I'll be totally honest, I was very impressed. I'm not super crazy about the name. I think the name is really dumb, and it doesn't do justice to the band. The band should be called Cosmic Warp Drive, or, I don't know, Supernova Energy Bomb. They kind of have I would say they're a cross between Hawkwind and the guy's vocals, a little bit of BOC with a sprinkling of Rush, believe it or not. And it's a power trio. Have you heard of King Buffalo?
I have, but I haven't checked out their music.
It's very spacey, man. I liked it. It was very cool. And they have been around for much longer than I expected. They've been around 10, 15 years. Never even heard of the guys. But they were cool, and surprisingly, a lot of people were surprised by this. I preferred them over Uncle Acid. Now, Uncle Acid was great. They had a great vibe. They have great energy, a great look. The bass player was totally into it. He was rocking the whole time. Great imagery with the backdrop. It was a lot of fun. But I actually preferred King Buffalo because kind of that's where my head has been recently. It's like I've been going down this cosmic tunnel, you know, and that's where the music is. But there was a couple of surprises there. My friend Mark Jackson, who actually did the cover art for that book, the Urusha's Horde book I was talking about, from Jim Kirkland's Dreaming City publishing company. I went with him, but when I went there, I ran into two people that I was very. I mean, the one person I run into occasionally, so I wasn't super surprised, but the other person was a real surprise. Louis Strahan, he was the last bass player for Iron Man, legendary doom metal band from Maryland and DC area. I ran into him. We got to hang out and talk. Super fucking cool cat. I think maybe we'll interview him one of these days. I actually mentioned it, and he said he was totally down for it. And he was hanging out with, and I was totally stunned by this, was Doug Romer. And you being the ultimate Black Manta fan in Australia knows who that is, correct?
Correct.
That's right. Doug Romer was Black Manta's manager for about a year or two. It's a long story.
I can't believe you guys ever had a manager. It just seems out of character.
It's a long story.
Maybe that's how you got an EP and a demo done. You actually had a manager for a short period of time. No,
that's not how any of that shit happened.
All right.
And it actually is quite it's not the best story. It didn't end well. There was a couple of personalities in the band that thought that Doug wasn't getting us enough paid gigs or whatever, and that but he got us the gig to open up for Pentagram. He got us a couple other high profile gigs, and every time I see him, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm sorry the way things ended. He's it's no problem. It's all water on the bridge. It was 20 years ago, but the way it ended was, you know, it wasn't the best that it could have ended, honestly. But I got to see him. He was there. He's like, oh man, Skull, I haven't seen you forever, blah, 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 blah. So we had a lot to catch up on. Doug Romer was the #1 Black Manta fan for a long time. He supported us. He had a zine. It was like not a zine. It was a real magazine. He profiled us in there. He interviewed us. And like I said, he kind of like, he was like our de facto manager. He was such a huge fan. He always tried to get us gigs and promote us and all this stuff. So it was super cool seeing Lewis, 1, and 2, I got to see Doug Romer again, who back in the day when we were first starting out, he really helped us out. He really put the word out there and to spread the word of Black Manta when we first got going. So that was a really cool gig, and I'm glad I got to see that.
Our last hope, the child born, the one
And welcome back to the Riff Crew, and I hope you enjoyed that live clip there as well. And now we're not talking about the ghosts of Electric Church's past, but of the future, and looking to the gigs coming up. Here in Australia, Skull, things are starting to ramp up, at least locally on the live scene, in terms of festivals and whatnot. So I'm not sure how many I'll get to, given the petrol prices at the minute. But in Brisbane at the start of April, there's an event called Halloween Hysteria, which is, I think, it's like 50 bands or something like that, something crazy. And some big names. Spiderbait, which is, I guess, more alternative, is headlining that. Clowns, who are a punk band from Melbourne, are joining, going up there, as well as King Parrot, who are also from Melbourne. Across in Adelaide, there's another metal festival. This time it's called the New Dead Festival. Again, dozens of bands, it seems like. And that's headlined by a technical death metal band from Tasmania called Psychroptic. And the drummer in that band has also joined, I guess, a long time staple of death metal scene here, a band called Adrenaline. He's also playing in that band, so Adrenaline are also playing, and they don't play that many shows. I think, given the logistics, because they're drummers down in Tassie. So definitely, if you're in Adelaide, check out that. And at the end of the month, probably more down your alley, Skull, is something called Sunburn Festival in the capital of Canberra. And that's kind of like a doom fest. It's 2 days, multiple stages of stoner and doom metal from bands from all over the place. So that's going to be a really cool event. It's probably, out of those 3 events, that's the one I'm thinking of making a trip for. Because, as you know, I like my stoner and doom.
Right.
The other probably notable shows, at least locally here in Melbourne in April, Dr. Colossus are continuing their album launch tour, or mini tour if you like. They're playing down in Geelong. As I said, I saw them in March, and it was a great show. And again, I think they're going to have 7 bands down there as well, which is, kind of ridiculous unless you just want to chill. I don't know. Smoke, if there's a smoking or non-smoking section down there.
It's a lot of bands, man.
It is a lot of bands, but they're really cool bands. Even the openers, I think opens with a band called Ocean Lord, which got some really cool tunes. The second is again another mini tour of Jack Harlon and the Dead Crows. They're playing some really strange venues in Melbourne, and the reason why I say strange is the ones I've never heard of. So it's almost like it might be a jazz club or somebody expecting Cyndi Lauper cover band or something like that, and all of a sudden there's a psych doom band playing there. So I might catch 1 or 2 of those just to see, maybe there's going to be some strange faces on the regulars at those venues. And last but not least is we've got the delayed album launch for Pizza Death.
Pizza Death. Okay.
I'm not sure you've heard of that band before, Skull. I know you heard of Pizza Dick, but if you've heard of Pizza Death...
Pizza Death.
Yeah, they're finally going to have their album launch. This is a classic crossover.
You can't even eat pizza. What do you eat? You just eat the toppings?
Yeah, that's actually what I'll do. I'll just pick off some, maybe pineapple or something.
Eat the cheese and the toppings.
Yeah. So yeah, they're finally going to have their album launch. I actually saw them in March. Play. They went up to Sydney to a venue called Frankie's Pizza, which is a pizzeria, which is closing down because it's getting demolished.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm spewing I didn't make it, but looking forward to that. And it's something special. The week before their album launch is they're having a game launch. Is it one of the members?
A video game.
Yeah, it's a video game, Pizza Death, the video game. And
wow, and these guys, they know how to promote themselves, don't they?
They're incredible. And it's basically, from what I gather, is that you're a pizza delivery guy, and you've got to kill pizza monsters and deliver the pizzas before the time runs out. And it's a fully legit video game.
That's classic. That sounds like a fucking Roger Corman movie or something.
I'm looking forward to checking it out because I might get my son hooked on it instead of Roblox or something like that, or Minecraft. So we'll have Pizza Death, the video game. So so I'm looking forward to checking out at least some of those shows coming up. How about yourself?
That's cool. Well, as you know, I don't have as many as you have on my side, but I have my own little list here. It's funny, we might have mentioned it previously. I don't know if I said that the chats are coming here.
Oh, okay.
They're actually coming to the same Baltimore soundstage where I saw Uncle Acid. And don't think I'm gonna go, but it's just funny that they're actually coming. But for me, I think I mentioned the Circle Jerks previously. That is playing at this legendary club down in DC called the Black Cat. It's sold out, but my friend right now, I might be getting a free ticket, so we'll have to see about that. So that Circle Jerks is still kind of on the horizon. And then beyond that, it's the Death Fest. That's the big one. I mean, I go there every year, minus the past couple of years, and because that's where I get basically all of my metal in 1 year, and for one weekend. It's like, all right, I've seen all my metal for the year, all these fucking amazing bands, and I don't need to do it now because we'll go through the roster the next time around, and you can just bring it up if you post it if you want to while we're talking here. But it's because everyone's chomping at the bit. It's been 2 years. All these guys want to get out. They want to play. They want to perform. They want the fans want to see them. It's some of the greatest bands you can possibly think of that are coming. Obituary is one of them. And then I think Dismember is playing. It's just crazy. The list of like legendary, iconic death thrash metal bands playing. It's just the list is endless, and we can go through it to one of our next Electric Churches. I'll give the entire breakdown because it's about 2 months away now. So next time, one of our next Electric Churches, I'll really go through the roster of people that are playing. But that being said, there is a surprise gig that came up out of nowhere. I've been talking about all these bucket list bands and all these bands that I grew up with and bands that I never really expected to see, but I really, I want to see them now. All these cats are getting older.
Let me guess, it's Elvis.
You're pretty close. Okay. My brother-in-law calls me up and because my sister-in-law is a professor at this university called Wake Forest, and they have a stadium, and every once in a while they have rock bands that show up. And my brother-in-law calls me up, and that's where I saw Guns N' Roses, was at that same gigantic venue. He calls me up and he's like, Paul McCartney's coming. Paul McCartney's coming to that same stadium where we saw Guns N' Roses. Like, get the fucking tickets now. And I'm like, hey man, the motherfucker's a living legend. He's a Beatle. There's only two of them left, him and Ringo. I was like, so it was a total surprise. Came out of nowhere. Bam, out of nowhere. I was like, you know what? I'm going. This guy's a living legend. One of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time. One of the greatest performers, and arguably one of the most important bands on the planet that transformed and changed the way that people think and changed the entire musical world forever. This guy's a fucking living legend. I was like, you know what? It's time. So I'm going to see him, and that's in May. That's a week before the Death Fest. But I'll be there, man, and I'm gonna be super excited to see him. He's another one of these guys. He's been a fucking vegan or vegetarian since like 1970, and so he plays like 3-hour sets. 3 hours.
These old rockers, man, they're pros. They just know they've got to put on a show.
But he's like almost 80. He's pushing 80. He's pushing 80. I don't know how. It's inhuman. There's a certain kind of magic, man. That the music keeps these motherfuckers alive.
Maybe they're holograms,
You know.
like Dio.
Well, music. Some of these people it kills, and some of the music gives them longevity. It's burn. It either burns them out or it gives them longevity. But I'm super excited about that, and I mean, every song he sings is going to be a fucking hit. It'll be, if you went there blindfolded or whatever, and someone dropped you in the audience, you probably would know every single song he sings. It's fucking crazy. But the guy's a living legend. He's a fucking rock and roll disciple for sure. And yeah, I'm super excited, man. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I guess it would have been a lot more convenient if you played the Death Fest, but I guess there's another road trip for you.
Maybe he will one day. Who knows? But that's it for me, man. I think that's it for me for right now. I think that's about all I have to say. Except this. Remember, everybody out there, when you worship at the Electric Church, and remember, look to the stars, carry that torch of enlightenment, and strive to be a disciple of rock and roll and the Brotherhood of Orpheus.
Called forth how the fuck we doing, Evelyn? The demons of hell. Are you fucking with us in the land? Alright, little are you king, Lord of darkness, He's our sin, our helper, the fiery out, you are haunting, demon calling. Melbourne! Are you fucking alive? see you! Strength of the mind and the force of weakness and inside. No more will I get the faces, don't be next to mine. I refuse to let circumstance dictate the outcome of fate. I am the master himself in a world less left so full of hate. So full of hate. I see you for who you are. Take control. Still where I'm on. I see you for who you are. Take control. Still where I'm on. I see you. Take control. I see you. Take control! So sick of hearing the talk, it's always cheap. Every excuse under the sun, lie to your sake. Leaving everyone for your breath, and it's time to take a step back. Look in the mirror and realize. So I'm looking roll back. Oh, when you roll back. Oh, when you roll back. See you for who you are. Take control. You wear the mark. I see you for who you are. Take control. You wear the mark. I see you. Take control. Take control! Yeah!
Thanks, kids.
All right, we're putting the shades on because it's Valentine. Get emotional. Remember I said we were lying in bed. Your eyes told me lies, chapters of Sunburn. And you left that day. You know you will pay. Tragedy designed for my peace of mind. That's the only ballad we know. Get a bit heavier. Come on, boys. Drop deep. I don't know where your soul has gone. I don't know where you've been. I don't know what is right from wrong. I don't know where these tears come from. fucking done, brother. Where do I find the open road? How do I call this lost place home? Where do I steal another heart? Looks like we're going back to the start. Yeah, I'll turn the drums, baby. I'm not crying. They are just whiskey tears, but I'm not crying. They are just whiskey tears, but I'm not crying. They are just whiskey tears, I'm not crying. Just forgiveness. They are just whiskey tears. Yeah, baby. Woo! That's the only ballad we've got.
Bring it down.
Oh, let's go a ballad again. Finish it. This one's for the ones that you birds. Thanks for coming, crew. Give yourself a big clap. Hey, it's going to be some form of a party. We're going to be at the bar all night. We're going to be down the front dancing all night. We want to see you there. Here we go. Do you remember I said you were lying in bed? Your eyes told
appreciate you. Thanks for coming out.
Grounded self-pity, I can't survive. Locking up, my back is broken. Rambling this, I can't survive. Moving up, so I can feel something. Lying down, made up my dead skin. The endless sea is abandoning me. Fill me up and let the gang begin. Ow! The senses are in play. Gratifying and possessively. You're going into emptiness. Feeding constant insanity. The rage is away. Loving up your life, feel my life. Wasting at the place of turning you. Get your guilt and bleed and kill me fucking kind. I cannot sit after food. Destined thoughts like a window. I just want I am a clown. And the chaos turns your soul. Turn the darkness in my eyes. I'm the one that I despise. And this moment I am free. The stillness washes out of me. We're not gonna say whatever what they will be. Let the voices be divine. Flooding one another feels so fucking humankind. This is to become a leap of perfectly aside. Rolling dice, I'm getting straight. Laying things, my days are shake. We're not the God. Let the devil take his fucking out.
सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्युर्मोक्षे नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय
faded. I made my escape. With the hellhounds chasing, there was no time to wait. Blue Mountain witches, tasting my blood. Blue Mountain witches, Blue Mountain blood. Come forward, my child, there's no need to fear. Take my hand, forever you will be.
thinks that this is an anchovy. Belongs on a fucking pizza. Show of hands. Alright. Correct. It does belong on a pizza. This song is called Rise of the Anchovy. Anchovies fucking rule.
What about pineapple? You like fucking pineapple?
Yeah, who likes fucking pineapple?
Excruciating Painapple!
Alright, thank you cunts. Okay, the next song is about the special people who live along our line of trains. The Frankston line. This is called... I'm on the front tonight. Gonna turn it on, gonna do this one. All the door, gold report. Oh no no no, rock the Lord, oh no no no, rock the Lord, oh no no no. Oh la la la, back here. Everybody alright. This life, but this void. Nothing is left. I'll crack and smack and take what you want. Come on down, say a fire. Now, then, don't turn or rejoice.